Hey Eleanor, Poppy here. It is Thursday afternoon. It's a gray day up here. Not too chilly. Snow has not melted totally. Still snow out there. See the snow on the back deck, the back meadow. Up in the tree there yesterday, we saw a big bald eagle resting on a branch. And when I went out to take a photo of it, I got a good picture, but it flew away, and then all the squirrels in the trees out there were just yelling at that eagle. Like, get out of my neighborhood, get out of here. Anyways. Hey, I have a book for you. I was going to read for you called Salt Hands. And it is one of my favorite books. It's an old book. And it was one of your mom's favorite books when she was about your age. Yeah, about 5 or 6. She loved that, and I liked the book because the girl in the book looks very similar to your mom. It's about a little girl, it's about a deer, and it's about the quiet of the nighttime. We're talking deer, remember? Several years ago, I remember, you and I were going for a walk in the back meadow. Remember, there's all the tall grass meadow, and cut in between all the tall grass were trails and stuff you could go explore and hide in, right? And you and I were walking back there in the back meadow, and we went down one of those trails, and the grass is really tall. It's taller than you. Probably came up to my armpits, and anyways, we came to an intersection where two trails met. And we looked around the corner, and guess what was right there, like 12 feet away, between you and the closest window in your house. It was that close. There was a deer, and it was really close, and it just froze. You froze. I froze. The deer wiggled its nose, had its ears way up here. We just stood there and looked at each other. And then it went trotting away at the other direction. Anyways, that's kind of similar to what happens in this story. So I'll start reading this. Salt Hands by Jane Chelsea Aragon, illustrated by Ted Rand. And this illustrator, that's the artist that draws the pictures of the little girl and the tree and the deer. See back there? His name is Ted Rand, and he's my favorite artist. I have a lot of books that he drew all the pictures for. And this is Mimi's. Oh, and here the artist, Ted Rand, wrote this for Mimi. To Carol with all good wishes, Ted Rand. And I love the deer and the antlers. So here goes. Salt Hands by Jane Chelsea Aragon, illustrated by Ted Rand. To my brother Lawrence David Birnbaum, to Billy Barner. In the night, I woke up. I heard something outside, like a rustle or a breath. There was a deer under the pear tree. The moon cast a shadow of his antlers on the ground. I went to the door. It was dark. It was still. The night air was warm. I didn't want to frighten the deer, so quietly I went in and sprinkled some salt into my hands. I tiptoed outside and stepped toward him silently. He looked at me. His eyes were big and brown. He watched me for a long time. I think he's curious. I knelt on the grass. The deer flicked his white tail back and forth. I sang a song to him, softly, while he nibbled on fallen pears. What song would you have sung to the deer, Eleanor? He shook his head and twitched his ears. He was listening to my song. He moved closer to me. Cautiously, I whispered my song. Then slowly, I held out my hand. Oh my. My heart beat quickly as I sat as still as the grass, as still as the night. I didn't want him to run away. There was not a sound, and as he came near me, he came very close. As I looked up at him, I could see into his eyes. They were gentle, and I knew he was not afraid. He lowered his head calmly and sniffed my hands. Then he tasted the salt. For a moment, I held my breath. I didn't move. His whiskers tickled my fingers. I kept my palms still. He licked my hands until the salt was all gone. I wonder what his tongue felt like, Eleanor. Think it was smooth or rough? That is one big tongue, too. Gorgeous eyes. When he was finished, he raised his head and turned away slowly and walked off into the night. And that's the end of Salt Hands. I wonder what animals are in your backyard late at night when it's quiet.